Imagine standing in the center of a beautiful 3,200 square foot home. The floors are polished hardwood. The ceilings are vaulted. The kitchen features professional-grade appliances that could feed a small army. Outside, the lawn is perfectly manicured. The neighborhood is quiet, prestigious, and safe. By every traditional definition of the American dream, you have made it. You are a success. But as you stand there in the silence of your oversized living room, you feel a cold knot of anxiety tightening in your chest. You look at the empty bedrooms that haven't been slept in for months. You look at the massive windows that cost a fortune to clean, and even more to keep the heat from escaping. And then you think about your bank account. This is the story of Brian. But more importantly, it is the story of a silent epidemic facing men over 50 in 2026. Brian is 57 years old. He earns a high income, yet he is effectively broke. He spends 87% of everything he brings home just to maintain the walls around him. He is not an owner. He is a tenant of his own pride. Today, we are going to perform a financial autopsy on the dream that became a cage. We will look at why your home might be the biggest obstacle between you and a peaceful retirement. Before we go deeper into the numbers that the banks do not want you to see, please take a moment to support the channel. If you find value in these deep dives into financial truth, hit the like button and subscribe. Leave a comment below and tell me, do you feel like you own your home, or does your home own you? Your engagement helps us reach more people who are struggling in silence. Now, let us look at the anatomy of this trap. In 2026, the cost of living has shifted the ground beneath our feet. The old wisdom told us that a home was your greatest asset. But for Brian, and perhaps for you, that asset has turned into a massive liability. Brian's home costs $475,000. On paper, he has equity, but equity cannot buy groceries. Equity cannot pay for a medical emergency in the middle of the night. Every month, Brian writes a check for his mortgage that eats up the vast majority of his paycheck. But the mortgage is only the beginning. In a home this size, the hidden taxes are relentless. He pays $517 every single month just in property taxes. That is $6,200 a year given to the government for the privilege of staying in a house he supposedly owns. Then there is the insurance. As climate events become more frequent and construction costs soar in 2026, insurance premiums have skyrocketed. Brian is paying $480 a month for coverage. And we have not even talked about the utilities yet. Heating and cooling a 3,200 square foot structure with vaulted ceilings is an exercise in futility. His average utility bill is $430. When you add up the mortgage, the taxes, the insurance, and the basic utilities, Brian is out of pocket nearly $4,000 every month. And he has not even eaten a single meal or put gas in his car yet. This is what we call being house poor. It is a state of existence where you have a high status address, but a low quality of life. Brian is working 40 hours a week, dealing with high stress at his corporate job, simply to fund the existence of empty rooms. Think about that for a second. Why do we do this to ourselves? Psychologically, men of our generation were taught that the size of our home was a scorecard for our lives. If the house is big, we are winning. If we downsize, we are somehow failing or retreating. But in 2026, true success is not about square footage. It is about liquidity. It is about freedom. The most dangerous part of Brian's situation is the maintenance. The 4% rule for home maintenance is more relevant now than ever. A house is a machine that is constantly breaking down. The roof, the HVAC system, the water heater, the exterior paint. On a $475,000 home, you should be setting aside $19,000 a year just for repairs. Brian is not doing that. He cannot afford to. So he ignores the small leaks. He ignores the aging furnace. He is effectively cannibalizing the value of his home just to stay afloat. This leads us to the spike, the moment where the math becomes truly terrifying. Let us look at what Brian is giving up. If Brian were to move into a comfortable, high-quality 1,500 square foot home, he would save roughly $2,000 every single month. $2,000 a month is $24,000 a year. If Brian takes that $24,000 and puts it into a simple index fund at a conservative 7% return, what happens? In 10 years, when Brian is 67 and ready to stop working, that money would have grown to over $330,000. That is the difference between a retirement spent traveling and seeing grandchildren and a retirement spent worrying about the price of eggs. Brian is choosing the vaulted ceilings over $330,000 in cash. When you frame it that way, the decision seems insane. Yet millions of men are making that exact choice every day. According to recent data, only 1.8% of households in the United States have more than $2 million in their retirement accounts. The vast majority of the middle class is sitting on a mountain of home equity and a molehill of cash. They are one major illness or one job loss away from total collapse. In 2026, the Federal Reserve has shown that the wealth gap is not just between the rich and the poor. It is between those who have cash flow and those who have stagnant assets. Brian's neighborhood is full of people just like him. They all wave to each other while they mow their lawns on Saturdays. They all park their expensive SUVs in the driveways. But behind those front doors, they are all staring at the same spreadsheets with the same sense of dread. They are all participating in a grand theater of success while their retirement accounts are starving to death. The maintenance on a McMansion is not just financial. It is physical and mental. Brian spends his weekends managing contractors or trying to fix things himself to save money. He is 57 years old. These should be his peak years of enjoyment. Instead, he is a slave to a lawn that needs mowing and a deck that needs staining. He is exhausted. And for what? To impress people he doesn't even like. We need to talk about the lender's lie. When Brian bought this house, the bank told him he could afford it. They looked at his gross income and said, yes, you can manage this payment. But the bank does not care about your retirement. They do not care about your stress levels. They only care that you are a reliable source of interest payments for the next 30 years. Buying a house based on what the bank says you can afford is like buying a car based on how much gas fits in the tank. It is the wrong metric. The correct metric is the 30% rule. Your total cost of housing, including everything, should never exceed 30% of your take-home pay. For Brian, that number should be around $2,000. He is currently at double that. He is living a life that is literally twice as expensive as it should be. And it is not just the house. A big house demands a big life. You have to fill the rooms with furniture. You have to decorate. You feel the need to have a car that matches the driveway. This is lifestyle creep on steroids. It is an avalanche that starts with a single oversized mortgage. So, what is the solution? What can Brian do in 2026 to save himself? The first step is the hardest. It is the admission of a mistake. Brian has to look in the mirror and say, I bought too much house, and I need to get out. Downsizing is often seen as a step backward, but I want you to reframe it. Downsizing is actually rightsizing. It is profit-taking. It is selling a non-performing asset to buy back your life. If Brian sells his house today, he clears his debt. He takes his equity. He moves into a smaller, more efficient, and more modern space. Suddenly, his monthly expenses drop by 50%. Suddenly, he has an extra $2,000 a month in cash flow. The stress leaves his shoulders. He sleeps better. He is no longer working for the house. The house is finally working for him. In 2026, the smartest move a man over 50 can make is to become lean. The world is uncertain. Inflation is a persistent shadow. The best defense against an uncertain future is a low overhead and a high liquid net worth. Don't let your ego dictate your zip code. Your children don't care about the guest room that they only visit once a year. They care about having a father who is happy, healthy, and not stressed about money. They care about you being around for a long time, not about the crown molding in your foyer. Let us look at the numbers one more time. If you are 55 years old and you have $300,000 in home equity, but only $50,000 in your 401k, you are in the danger zone. You are betting your entire future on the hope that real estate prices will continue to climb forever, and that you will never need quick access to cash. That is a dangerous bet. By downsizing, you unlock that $300,000. You put it to work in diversified assets. You create a stream of income that the house could never provide. You move from a position of fragility to a position of strength. As we wrap up this discussion, I want you to take a serious look at your own situation. Pull out your bank statements from the last 12 months. Calculate every single dollar that went into your home. Not just the mortgage, the repairs, the lawn care, the association fees, the heating, the cooling, the taxes. If that number makes you feel sick, pay attention to that feeling. That is your intuition telling you that something is wrong. The American dream was never meant to be a suicide pact. It was meant to be a foundation for a good life. If the foundation has become too heavy, it is time to build something lighter, something faster, and something that actually serves you. Before we conclude, I want to thank you for staying with me through this deep dive. If this video opened your eyes, please hit that like button. It tells the algorithm that this kind of deep, honest financial content is important. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss our upcoming guides on how to navigate the economy of 2026. And please, share your story in the comments. Are you thinking about downsizing? What is holding you back? Is it the ego, the family, or the fear of the unknown? Let us start a conversation. We are all in this together, trying to find the path to true freedom. Remember, the best home you can ever live in is the one that allows you to live the life you want outside of its walls. A house is just a place to sleep. Your life is what happens when you are awake. Make sure you are not sleeping through your best years just to pay for a bedroom you don't need. Thank you for watching. Stay wise, and I will see you in the next video.